All right, hello everybody. This is Gary Wilson, and I'm on the phone with Rick Banez. I'm Rick's in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I'm sunny Corova, North Carolina, and wild horse territory and four-wheel drive country on a week-long campaign. And I've invited Rick to participate in this quick conversation so that everybody listening could get something, a new, fresh perspective from another agent who's also an investor. And I know Rick Banez personally, and then his partner, Anna Jenkins, and they really are super people personally and professionally, and in the past have been ranked, I think at one time, number 1 and 2, and I don't know when that was, Rick, but Rick, welcome. I thank you for taking the time to do this, and I appreciate your willingness to lend a hand to help out fellow agents and investors, inspire them, and help them see that they can also do the same thing that you and I have done and so many others. So thank you, Rick, and welcome aboard.
Thank you, Gary.
Good. Now, I mentioned number 1 and number 2, and maybe that was just a rumor I heard, but is it true that at one time in the past you and Anna were ranked together 1 and 2? I don't know when this was. It was probably before I met you.
Yeah, it's actually we had a before we worked together, before we formed our team. She had her team, and I was doing my thing, and I was chasing her really hard in terms of her sales, and she was always just hitting the ball out of the park. And so that's we were in the Fredericksburg office, and it was just it was just like, it feels like just 2 or 3 years ago that we were doing this. I was 2 and she was 1, and we decided to partner up together, and it's been an awesome experience doing so.
Yeah. Well, I know on a personal note, you guys love the high adventure stuff. I mean, hiking, biking, kayaking, canoeing, skiing, the whole 9 yards. And so we've all hit it off well as friends, not just because of that, but also spiritually speaking, you guys are absolute, 100% good citizens. And I can't emphasize that enough. And not that I want to preach to anybody on the call here, but it never fails, Rick. People that I've grown to know and love and admire, and who also succeed in other areas of life, whether it's relationships or business or anything else, have that common thread. And so I want to kind of commend you for that, and recognize that in front of the group here. So congratulations on that. And if you could, Rick, tell me a little bit about, you and Anna have partnered up, and a lot has happened in the last couple of years. But take a few minutes and describe to the people listening to this what you've done in the way of investing, and then if you could lead into your formation of property management, which is just a recent event, but I think very, very important for people to hear. If you wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be great.
Sure. So what we actually I actually started and bought my first home when I was 25, and I lived in Oklahoma, and I never saw properties as an investment. I mean, I bought them as an investment for myself and my family, but I never bought them as a source of passive income. And I've gotten very, very passionate about this, looking for ways in which to drive passive income further. And so, like I said, I bought my first home when I was 25. I've owned 10, 12 homes since then. And I never looked at them as a source of passive income, just primarily because I work for a company called Kodak, and every time they transferred me, they would either buy me out, buy my home out, or we could sell the home in and of itself. And what I should have done is I should have just kept those homes in all the different states that I lived in, and that's what I probably. Looking back, wish I would have done. But I bought my first investment property that I've kept in 2009. We have a total of 4 properties now between Anna and myself. We have taken the first property, it was a foreclosure, and we renovated it, put in about $20,000 worth of improvements into it, and we're renting that out, and it's a 4-bed, 2-bath we're renting that out for approximately $1,800 a month. It's cash flowing $800 a month for us. So we're very pleased with that investment. The next one that we purchased is a single-family residence that we turned into a duplex, and this is in the city of Fredericksburg. And what we did a cash flow analysis on it, and we saw the demand in this area for single-family homes, and we've got both the basement rented, which has its own separate entrance, as well as the upstairs rented to another family, and that one is cash flowing very strongly for us as well. And it was our first commercial loan, by the way. We financed the others through living in them and then improving them and then moving on. The fourth home that we have, the third home that we have is a home that we're actually renting the basement. We're living in the basement, and we are renting the top floor, the main floor. And that allows us to live very, very financially frugal. The upstairs pays the mortgage for us, and they pay the utilities. And so all we're responsible for is the trash, water, sewer, and internet, TV. And so we've been very pleased with that investment because they have total use of the front yard and a nice little enclosed porch, and we have the use of the backyard. And it's a walkout basement, so it offers all the feelings of not feeling like you're in a basement. Right. And as a result of that, in the fourth one, Anna had brought to the table when she had lived in that home and decided to keep it as an investment property, and that one has actually done very well as well because she's had a chance to have community health group homes in her house because it's a very large house. It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and so she's used it as a community health home, and so we're very pleased with our investments thus far, but we're always looking for the next opportunity. What we decided to do last year is take we always focused in real estate on sales, both buying and selling. And as a listing agent, I focus on buyers, and we felt like at that time, during 2006 and on, when the market started to slow, this was the best place to be in. Now we've shifted our focus because we're looking for ways where we can step back out of the business, where we can not have to be there all the time, that we can have somebody replace us and do the job for us. And we feel that property management offers that ability, that you can work it really hard, but then you can also take these mini retirements. And our goal is to take a mini retirement every year, at least a month off, where we can either, if we want to, work remotely or work in another state, or even possibly be snowbirds at some point. And so property management, we started with, of course, our own accounts that are part of our family, but we've really grown it significantly. We're up to over 40 doors right now, and the business has been a tremendous growth opportunity because now we give clients really a choice of services. Now, if they can't sell because they're underwater or they're just breaking even, we give them the opportunity to possibly rent their home, and we'll manage it for them. And because we have that trust and relationship, we give them options, not just, one way or the other kind of thing. Gary? Gary? Hey there.
Hey, Rick, sorry about that. We're actually still being recorded, thank goodness. And I just heard us like a buzz, and it just so you were getting into property management, and I really, well, I can't emphasize enough how important it is for me to see you guys doing this. So if you think about if you think about 95 or more percent of our agents, because we're all, you and I and Anna, we're all three brokers here. 95% of us never even travel the path that you guys are traveling. They just simply operate with the owner-occupants. And so they have a linear path of profit. They're at risk. They have one stream of income. And what you guys have done, which is what I did, is leverage your license as an income-producing asset, just like a duplex, because it is an income-producing asset. So now you're not only serving owner-occupants still, you're serving investors. You're starting property management to further serve your investors because you've already got a captured audience, and you're investing yourself. You've got at least 4 of the 8 possibilities, 8 possible income streams going on at once, plus more, because I know together you're a team, so that's number 5. I'm sure you get referrals from your investors. I know tell me if your experience has been like this, Rick. I've gotten far more referrals for my investors than I ever got from owner-occupants. In fact, it's been a 1-to-1 ratio. For every investor I ever got, I averaged 1 referral per investor. Some investors gave me 2 or 3 or 4, some gave me 0, but on average it was greater than 1.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
yeah.
Tell me about that. What's it been like for you, like growing your property management business? I'll just preface it with this: is a lot of people look at me when I teach this stuff. They say, "Hey, well, how can I do that? I'm with a brokerage company." And I say, "You know what? If you were Keller Williams, consider yourself blessed, because at Keller Williams, we want you, we help you and teach you and guide you to build a business around yourself. And yes, you may have to go to get a separate tax ID, and yes, you may have to get a separate broker's ID, but you can still run your sales through Keller Williams and then do your property management separately, which is a smart thing to do anyways." But did you find any inherent risk or challenges, Rick, that were not easily overcome with this process?
Well, I'll say it this way, because we did run into some challenges when we first expressed this goal last year to start our own property management division. The office that we were in Fredericksburg was a Keller Williams, and they already had their own property management group that was owned by the owners that owned that office, that particular franchise. And so for a short period of time, we actually, because we were so passionate about feeling this was the right decision for us, starting property management, Anna and I both left Keller Williams, and we started our own brokerage. And during that time, had conversations with, because we love Keller Williams and we wanted to be a part of Keller Williams, but we did not want to be, not be constricted in terms of being able to pursue what our goals were. We had started having discussions with another Keller Williams office. And at that time, they were looking for a property management organization to come in and work their leads, because they were leaving a lot of their leads on the table. And so it's been a huge godsend to have this relationship, first off, to be back with Keller Williams, and then secondly, to be able to exploit the opportunities that come through the office, because these referrals that you were talking about, I mean, from our investors, it's also coming from the agents in the office. We have approximately 70 agents in the office, and we speak at the sales meetings. We're giving them leads, and it's a symbiotic relationship for the agents in the office, and we're getting referrals for property management as a result of these other people that are in the office. And so the investor community has been a big help. I mean, really the 3-part approach that we were using when we decided to get into property management, because we wanted to systematize it, we wanted to automate it, and we wanted to make sure that we were doing things differently, because we've seen other property managers haven't done perhaps the best job in communicating, both on the tenant side as well as the landlord side. And so we invested in systems to help us do things that other property managers aren't doing. And I think that's what it's really helped us to be able to get more referrals. And these investors that are either becoming investors, like they didn't intend to be investors, these are people that had a single family home and they decided, oh, you know, we give them this opportunity. I mean, rents, we just read an article about rent rates are increasing significantly over the past year, and that millennials don't want to, they really don't want to buy. And so I think that has been, you know, we're renting our homes in 2 or 3 weeks from putting them on the market, and we are turning, you know, skeptical people who have never invested before into successful investors because of our systems and because of our reputation as well.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned a couple of key points there. The last one was systems, and you know, one of the things I like to emphasize with people that I teach and coach is you have to develop and maintain good systems, because in order to have a business, and let's face it, if all you did was service owner occupants, you don't have a business, you have a job. When you service investors, now you have the opportunity to create a business because you have repeat clients on a regular basis, and you're able to put in systems in place to further automate, which means now you're spending less time creating and nurturing relationships, which you still do, but let's face it, you only create and nurture it once with investors. But now the majority of your time is available to be in production, generating cash flow. And you know, if you could do me a favor, talk a little bit about education and information and taking action, because you guys are absolutely you're fearless. Although you're not, you're frugal. You're fearless but frugal. You don't take unnecessary risk and chances, because I know you personally, and yet you're willing to take action, because I know for a fact you guys are self-educators. You read books, you get the right information. If you could talk about that a little bit, Rick, I think that would help a lot of these folks tremendously. You
know, there's a couple things of, you know, in terms of our systems and some of the things and the actions that we took when it was interesting, because we were just like a sponge trying to soak up as much options and thoughts as we can, and trying to find out what the right systems for us. And we've actually implemented, there's like 4 or 5 different systems that we've implemented. We have 3 employees on our team. 2 of them are virtual assistants. They're in the Philippines, and we have 1 person that's local. We've broken up our business in that the 1 virtual assistant, she handles all the sales, and the other virtual assistant, he handles all the rentals. And our face-to-face person that is in the office, our assistant that's local here, she's responsible for taking all the pictures, taking all the listings, communicating all of the information to the appropriate virtual assistant that we have. And then she's the one that's doing the property inspections and handling the maintenance requests, etc. Whereas our virtual assistants, they're all focused on tasks, and it's a system that we've adopted this past year. It's part of the Brevity system, and they get a series of tasks of everything they're responsible for doing. The task might be 30 or 40 or 50 items each day, and they get assigned a new task based on the timelines. And it's all mastered in a communication style where it keeps us informed, but it also keeps the owner and the landlord informed, depending upon if it's a rental or a sale. And the same thing with the buyers as well. They're getting communicated on a regular basis within this system. Within property management, a new system that we implemented was with a software or a service called Buildium. Some people are using Appfolio. We chose to use Buildium. It's very, very good for us. It integrates the credit aspect, the criminal background checks, all the communication, the online We don't physically touch at all if we can avoid it. We don't collect rent via checks at all. We don't allow the tenant to drop off checks. We've tried to take a hands-off approach and put all the onus onto the tenants and making sure that they deliver the funds to the bank, whether it be through ACH, electronic funds transfer debit, automatic payments, or we've set them up with people who have good credit. We've set them up with a bill pay, where they're literally just sending us the money direct to our checking account. And so that has eliminated a lot of the touch points that typically, typical traditional property management companies have, where somebody's physically dropping off a check and then someone has to physically, sneaker net it to a bank for a deposit. We've eliminated that. And in terms of, book reading, I'm just passionate about learning. We have been, we've become audiobook fans. We just finished a book, and it's an old book. It's been out there for a while, but it's called The 4-Hour Workweek, and by Tim Ferriss. And we've been a strong adopter of his approaches and taken action as a result of listening to some of the things and ideas that he's had. And we've both gotten extremely involved, or I should not involved, but we listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's one in particular that I've been listening to a lot lately called it's by Joe Fairless, and I think he calls the show, it's the best ever real estate investing class, and I do enjoy that a lot. It's about a 20-minute interview with some of the best investors around the country, and it allows me to get my daily dose of ideas. We just implemented a new approach that we're going to play with, where we're going to take our evaluation websites and turn them into online sign bandits, where we're going to try to, you've heard of people who buy homes, we buy homes, and you see the signs all in the neighborhoods and things like that. We're taking that a step further, and we're going to go online with our marketing of that and do a pay-per-click campaign using the evaluation sites by collecting their address and name so that we can approach them of possibly selling. If they need cash quick, we're going to tie that into our investor network and be able to connect our investors with these clients who want to sell their home very fast.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, Rick, you just gave the key to the vault to a lot of people. And one of the key factors here, if people are paying attention, looking at this from 30,000 feet, is leverage. You guys are leveraging almost at every point along your path to profit. And I'm watching it as it happens over these last couple of years, and it's a pleasure for me to see it. But, when you only work with owner-occupants, you don't have these luxuries. There's not much you can leverage. When you work with investors, you can tie that into the owner-occupied business and vice versa in a lot of different ways. So kudos to you guys for really taking charge of your financial present, your financial future, to be independently wealthy, to be able to live by the 4-hour work week, because I've read that book too, and ironically here I am on the beach, doing probably a half-hour interview. Each day I work about an hour, and I'm doing well. And people who know me, I try not to brag a lot, but the reality is, if you don't tell people your story, they won't be able to see it for themselves and see themselves in the story. And that's so critical in my teaching and coaching. I want people to see themselves, visualize themselves doing this. That's why I do the interviews, because it's not just me. There's a bunch of us out there, just like you and Anna. Now, ironically, we make up less than 5% of the agent base. You know what, Rick? That's fine with me, because quite frankly, it's like operating in a vacuum. I mean, how many people out there in your marketplace are doing what you and Anna are doing? I don't know if you know, but do you know of anybody else? I would venture to say probably not.
No, I don't think they have the same mindset. I mean, and a lot of it goes back to our, originally, I tell my parents this. I never thought I'd be living in a basement, but I am, and it's a really, really nice basement. And so I'm living rent free, and that is our goal. Everybody has different goals. We have never been happier, never been financially freer from any obligations. Our plan, I'm sure, will change in another year. We'll probably rent out our wonderful 2-bed, 2-bath basement, and we'll find another home to invest in. But we find real estate investing very exciting, and I'm telling my daughters, I'm telling my friends, I'm telling my family, this is what it doesn't have to be this way, but definitely look at these opportunities in a different way that will work for you.
Wow, I really appreciate that. You may have just answered my last question, but I was going to ask you one more question. I know you're a busy guy, and I really do appreciate your time, and I know that the people who are going to listen to this appreciate it too. You just hit on a couple of things there about mindset and the way success works in fulfillment is that it comes from not just what you do, but who you are, because what you do comes from who you are, and as a result, your results from what you do reflect who you are. They're in alignment. That's where the fulfillment comes from. And, I can't, congratulate you guys enough for living your dream is your reality. That's probably the best way I can sum it up. Your dream is your reality. So if there's one thing you can think of, Rick, and I know Anna's not there. She's probably out right now getting a listing. But if you think about where you were years ago and think about all these agents that you and I know, and they want to do what you and I are doing, and I always tell them, don't be like me, be better than me. But is there one thing you can think of to help them be able to put one foot in front of the other? And I know I think you were in one of my beta tests last winter. We did I shouldn't say it on a public broadcaster, but we did a freebie for a lot of people, and I think either you or Anna were part of that. I don't want to focus on it. What I want to focus on is the agents who are out there they're worried about how they're going to pay the bills next month. They see this is out there. They see you're doing it. They see me doing it. They know that I'm teaching it, but they just can't. That there's a hesitancy there, and I can't. I wish I could get inside people's heads and create that state of mind that they need. But is there something you could think of, Rick, that might help these people? So, in your own experience, for example.
Well, one of the things that I would tell people is if they can, try to buy at least one home for themselves every year. Buy at least one home. What that will do is during good times and bad times, you will have a steady increase, a steady source of income if it cash flows for you. So that's actually one of our goals is to buy 2 homes. But if you can just start off with buying one home per year, just to see how things go. It's really hard. Some people for instance, they sit on the edge of a swimming pool. They don't jump in, but they read everything and they look at it, but they don't actually implement it. Take that chance. If the numbers work and it does cash flow, at least $200 a month, and you're getting it for a fair price, it's one of those things where if it cash flows at least $200, in our eyes, it's a strong investment because we're buy and hold type investors. We're not flippers. At some point, we may need to flip, but that would be, my advice is don't just sit and evaluate and just be constantly caught in that whole evaluation wheel. Take the chance. And I will say I'm very conservative, Gary. You know me. I don't take a lot of risks. There's people out there that take a bigger risk. I'm definitely one of those ones that I don't like to play unless I win, and I know I'm going to win. And what we've done with these properties that we have, we're winning, and our approach has been trying to find properties that are either going to cash flow for us immediately, that doesn't take a lot of rehab, and if they do take rehab, be prepared to invest in that and be on the market within 3 to 6 months. And after that, our second philosophy has been take a single-family home and turn it into a multifamily. So if that's a duplex, or I should say if that's a home that is a rambler with a basement, we've turned that into a 2-unit home. If it's a colonial with a walkout basement, we've turned that into a 2-family home. In areas that are attractive, that have access to healthcare, hospitals, public transportation, major roadways that allow jobs, that cater to, that first-time person that is renting on their own. I mean, our basement, the 2 basements that we have, one is definitely an upgraded basement. That's the one we're living in. But our second basement, it definitely caters to either a college student or a young person just getting into the job market. And we're getting that cash flow on both those homes, $1,200. If we were to rent out the basements of our home that we're living in, we cash flow $1,200 to $1,300 easily. And the same with our home that's a colonial that we added a second unit to. That would cash flow easily an extra $800 a month. So anytime you can buy that home and buy that home and keep cash flowing it and holding on to the long term, I feel is going to be the great solution for us. It's been really well for us. Worked well.
Well, that's really awesome, Rick. I really appreciate you sharing so much with me and everybody on this. And a couple of final points here is, number one is, you guys have become very close friends of mine. But it all started with a business relationship. We started off in the same business together, and we became friends. And that's been one of the hallmarks of what I do is I've developed more friendships out of this business than I ever did from any other business. That's the first thing. The second thing is you guys are living role models for so many people. You're living the investor agent model. You're capitalizing. You're leveraging your license and capitalizing on that. You're investing in real estate. You're walking the talk. So you're a role model not for just your investors, but for other agents. And I know that they appreciate it. I know I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you guys again. I think actually this next week, in fact. I'll be cruising up through Southern Virginia, through Richmond, up through, I think, Woodbridge. I teach on Friday. So I'll see you guys Thursday night, and then up to New York after that. And I know you guys are going to, I think it's Israel in September. And hopefully we'll see you. If not, I don't think you're going to Mega Camp because they switched the month on us. Kind of surprised some people. I'll be there, but if not, I'll see you, along the path to profit, and we'll have some more fun in the next family reunion too. So thanks
awesome,
again, Rick.
Gary.
And, you guys take care. Tell Anna I said hello, and I hope you're going to have an awesome weekend. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time. Okay?
Definitely enjoy your time at the beach with the family, Gary. Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, Rick. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.